And are we live or are we just faking it? I think we're live. Good morning, beloveds. The iPad can be a little weird about connecting, so sometimes that's why I'm a little weird in the morning. No, I'm just weird in the morning. The iPad not connecting just gives me an opportunity to be weird live. So, okay. We are doing Living the Science of Mind. Because we are doing Living the Science of Mind, I'm going to do that. No, that's not right. I'm just going to do the housekeeping first because it's Monday and I have this, it's a shoe, you hang it on your closet door to put shoes in, but it's not full of shoes. It's just full of stuff, that, you use in the bathroom. Like, I don't ever need to buy eye drops again. That's not true. Like, I got like 8 bottles of, so I went through it today and I thought, oh, it'll take 15. Nope. It straight up took about 45 minutes to go through that thing. But at least I know I don't need eye drops for a while. I also combined we had like 7 boxes of Band-Aids. So I combined all those down. So, that's what I did with my morning. Okay. Now, let's do the housekeeping and then we'll do Living the Science Mind because I think we're still in the physics lessons. If you look at the title, Your Invisible Forces, physics. Okay. What are the housekeeping? That's just me reminding you, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact is email, constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. That will get you 1 email a week, unless something unusual happens, because it is hurricane season. What that will do then is tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot. So if it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information or to the person that can help you get it. And then it is a blind CC, meaning nobody will see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. Very important fact there. All right. So that is everything for the housekeeping. No, it's not. I'm just not going to do the social media today, apparently. All the social media is we do not monetize the social media. Why that's important is because that means we rely on you to bump us in the algorithms. So what we need you to do is go to the pages, like, follow, and subscribe based on which platform you're on, and engage with the posts. So engage with the pages, engage with the posts. When you see the posts, like, or you can love them. On Facebook, you can love them. But like them, share them, comment on them. It bumps us in the algorithms, and we'd appreciate that. And we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, and I am the running Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Okay, so that's everything. All right, I've talked ad nauseum. We're halfway through this book about what my pet theory is on this. It is a collection of essays from a at-home Science of Mind course. All but 2 of them came from that. And really, honestly, I do think people would write to Ernest with questions, which is what created the at-home course, because you could mail off for it. It was 48 leagues. And then they pulled the essays to create this. And one of the best things about this book is you can just flip it open, read whatever it is, and it'll probably have some good wisdom for you for whatever it is you're doing that day. So definitely try that game. Now, we are reading straight through, which has been very interesting because I know there are articles in here that I've never read, evidenced by the fact that there are no pen marks. So I have my blue highlighter handy here. Let me just open it and leave it open and then hope I don't drop it. Okay, so today, all of a sudden I'm Australian. Good day, mate. Nope. Let's not do that. I don't know what happened there. Okay. So today is Your Invisible Forces. It is said that the average person draws on only about 10% of their real capacity. The other 90% is mostly submerged and unused. Well, you and I would think it wonderful if we could multiply our talents many times. I have no doubt we could do this if we try. So let us take a simple lesson from nature. Perhaps from where you are sitting, you can see a tree in full bloom. If so, remember that the roots through which the tree draws its life are entirely invisible. And unless the tree drew on this invisible source, it would never flourish. Our roots are in the mind of God. Yep, I love that phrase. Our individual individuality, everything that we are and do is an effect of our invisible forces. Forces which continually draw on the infinite. But in our ignorance, we limit the flow of divine power into our lives. Because, of course, this is not intentional, for we all want to make good in life. We want people to like us, and we desire to be worthwhile. But too often, when we make an inventory of our assets, we depend only upon the circumstances that surround us. We say, how can I better myself? I haven't the personality, or I haven't the natural attractiveness which is necessary to making good in life. Right here is where our faith in the power greater than we are must be brought into play. For we, as individuals, are rooted in this power. It was his great claim on a power greater than he was that enabled Jesus to become a divine man while still living on earth. Did he not say, of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doth the work. Yes, we must come to believe that the Spirit does dwell within us, and that the same creative Spirit that is back of all things flows through us. Jesus said, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. God has need of us, or God wouldn't have put us here. The divine wishes to express through you and through me, or we would have no existence. We have no existence of ourselves alone. It is only because we live in God that we live at all. If we think of ourselves as rooted in God and expect the divine powers to flow through us, our every thought and act will be animated by the same life, power, and beauty that clothe the lily of the field. We once knew one of the country's leading cartoonists. The nature of his work was such that he had to produce a new idea daily and make pictures of them for a newspaper syndicate for the millions of people to read. I asked him how he accomplished so much, and he told me that he had a room with 4 blank walls, and the only furniture in his room was a table and chair. That when he needed ideas, he would go into this room, sit down, and become quiet. He said that sometimes he would sit there for 2 or 3 hours and nothing would happen. Then, all at once, something would begin to flow up from within him. A new thought, a new idea. He would take a pencil and write his impressions. What he wrote and what he drew were like the bloom of a plant as it draws upon the soil. The creative artist and the inventor do this. Okay. Become quiet. Sorry, I just got real quiet there. The creative artist and the inventor do this. And why should we not do the same? We have to start with the proposition that all things are possible to God, that God makes everything out of itself by the simple process of becoming the thing that it makes. The simple process of becoming what? Ugh. Yeeks. Just as the tree grows out of the ground and the invisible forces of its life turn into foliage, into blue blossom and fruit, and all through a silent process of nature. Do you ever ask yourself this question? How is it that I could eat mince pie and ham sandwiches and maybe a salad and have that turn into flesh and blood and hair and fingernails? Here is the miracle of life, the invisible becoming visible. We are so used to the process that we never question it. We take it for granted. Why should we not take it for granted that God will give us ideas? That the Spirit within us, as Jesus said, knows what we need, what we have need of, even before we ask. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting the sentence to go that way. Let us get back to the tree again. Suppose every time it thought of putting forth a new branch, it would say, How am I going to do it? I have only a certain number of branches. I don't know how to make a new branch anyway. Just for the fun of it, let's suppose this tree is a person and it is bemoaning its fate because it would so greatly like to have a few more branches, but it doesn't know how to make them. I'm sorry, this is really funny. And thinking of the tree as a person, let us assume that every time it says, I don't know how to make a new branch, it is blocking off the possibility of drawing its life from the soil. If this would happen, the tree would never make any more branches. It would begin to die from this very moment. But the tree is not a person. All it does is depend on nature. All it knows is to grow. So it never short circuits the divine energy that gives it life. Ooh. In other words, we are busy getting in our own way. That's exactly what that example says. We are busy getting in our own way. But we are people, and we can short circuit the divine energy that ought to be flowing through us. We short circuit it when we deny that it is there. Ooh. Yep, see? We're busy getting in our own way. And the reason we deny it is because we do not see this energy, and therefore we do not believe in it. If we believe that the Spirit is within us, and if we believe that all things are possible to God, then we should no longer deny that God knows what to do with its own creation, and we should include ourselves in that creation. All right, then, let us see what would happen to us if we should include ourselves in God's creation. Right at the start, we should learn to have a little better opinion of ourselves. Jesse said that yesterday. It's like, God isn't going to make something unworthy. You know, you are not unworthy because God is never going to make something that is unworthy because God is making everything out of itself. Therefore, you are worthy. I am not talking about a conceited opinion, for we have learned that we can do nothing of ourselves. We live because we are drawing on the invisible source of all life. The only way that God can work for us is by working through us, and God cannot give us anything unless we take it. That's a super important part. It's like God's willing to give us anything that we could desire within its nature, but we have to be willing to accept it. Okay? God has made the gift of life, or we would not be here. Only God can give life, as only God can make a tree. But we are not living like the tree because we deny the very power by which we live. And now we want to change all this. We wish to draw on these invisible forces, to let our roots run deep into the life which is already perfect and complete. And we want to live happily and without fear. For fear short circuits this divine energy, while confusion and uncertainty cause it to produce bondage instead of freedom. Almost there. This is it. If we want to change this, let us start by accepting ourselves for better or for worse. But in this instance, let us be sure that we accept ourselves for better, because we are thinking of the deep hidden self, which the Bible tells us is hid with Christ in God. Here is where prayer and meditation make possible the miracle of life. Remember, we are talking about affirmative prayer, for there should be nothing negative in our communion with God. It should always be affirmative. We should never say God cannot or will not, but always God can and will and does. And having cleared all doubt from our consciousness, we must learn to affirm that all the power and all the presence and all the life that there is for us and with us and in us, which is what the first two steps of treatment are. Very important fact there. And there is one more thing we certainly should not forget to add. The higher forces of life always work constructively. When we use them constructively, there seems no limit to their possibility. The moment we begin to use them destructively, they appear to block themselves. Okay. Interesting. Hadn't thought about that. This seems to be the only condition that the divine has laid down which might be considered limiting, but which is not. Meaning we have to stay within the nature of the power. If we try and use it outside of its nature, it's not going to work. Or it's going to produce interesting results that we don't necessarily want. We could not expect to use the power of good for evil purposes, nor could we expect through hate to generate love, nor could we hope for God to give us that which we refuse to pass on to others. Very important part. If you want it for yourself, you gotta want it for everybody. Now, not everybody wants what you want, but you still gotta want it for everybody. These are the only conditions Jesus laid down when he told us that we would always receive if we would pray aright. Let us take a simple illustration to demonstrate this. We can love without limit. We can love everyone and everything and feel kindly disposed towards people and circumstances and situations. And this attitude toward life will never hurt us, nor will it block the flow of life through us. Rather, it will tend to accelerate it. But the moment we begin to hate, we block the passage of life, and gradually this negative attitude stifles us. It short circuits the flow of energy from the root of our being into the things we are doing. When we are on the right track, there is no limit. But when we get on the wrong track, we go on to where the trail runs out and stops. It would seem as though God has imparted its own life to us, placing no limits or conditions that would restrict us other than this. Life must be lived constructively, in unity and love and sympathy with everything around us if we expect to live it in full. There is no other condition imposed upon us from the divine. Everyone is born to be creative and to live the fullest and to enjoy life, to be happy and glad and prosperous and whole. We do not believe that God is a failure. God never makes any mistakes. We are the ones who err. If we are certain that our lives are constructive, and if our whole desire is to live in such a way as to harm no one but to bless all, then we should place no limits on the possibility of our future. This great gift of life is to be accepted, even as the lilies of the field and the birds of the air. Let's try this simple experiment. Daily saying to ourselves, all that the Spirit hath is mine. There is nothing in me that can deny its presence, its power, its wisdom, its guidance, and its protecting love. Today and every day I shall live life to the full. I shall sing and dance and be glad. And always within me there is the power and the presence and the life of God. And unto this presence be glory and honor, dominion and power, both now and forever. Amen. And there you have invisible forces. Ooh, and we get to do your spiritual bank account tomorrow. That's always a good one. Jesse can talk all day long about your spiritual bank account. So I look forward to that. And hopefully you got enough commentary in that. Though that one really didn't require the commentary because Ernest isn't always straightforward. Like sometimes I say, like he makes me work for it. That one, pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. You are made of the stuff that God is. You are worthy. God doesn't make mistakes. We do. And when we recognize it, we make amends and do better next time. So, all right. You are not a mistake because God don't make no junk. I remember that growing up, there would be the small child with his hands folded and his head bowed and it said, God don't make no junk. So I remember that growing up. It was one of my favorites. Okay, beloveds. I'm now going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a drink plenty of water day, a stay out of the heat day, a stay out of the direct sunlight day. I mean, at 7:30 this morning, it was already hot. So take care in the heat and enjoy the thunderstorm if you get one, because for the next 10 days. I think Friday's the only day we don't have a chance of rain. A go look at the clouds day. A take care of yourself day. A call your fur babies day. A take care of business day. A you got this day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant masterpiece. No, a brilliant light and a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. I say it so often I get it screwed up, and it's my workup. Okay. Don't ever take yourself too seriously. Don't ever take yourself too seriously. So you are a beloved expression of the divine, right? A beautiful masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. It's appropriate that he was talking about a tree, right? Sapling, godling, same thing, right? Okay, because we are the essence of God, not the allness of God. We are always going to remember who we are. All right. At least that's the start of it. If we remember who we are, we can do anything. All right, beloveds. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because apparently the divine knows me to be a little silly. Because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. All things are possible. All right, beloveds, take care of yourself. Oh, wait. Reverend David should be on around 5. I should be back with you around 9ish tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.